Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Claire Markwick, and this is Real Life Business. Welcome to episode number 6 of Real Life Business. In this episode, I am chatting with Renee Lindley, who is the owner of Wren Store Styling in Gundagai, New South Wales, a cosy and affordable women's clothing and accessories store where she also offers a range of personal styling services. No longer dazzled by the bright lights of Sydney and a successful PR career, Renee and hubby decided to press refresh a few years ago and move back to the country, or home, as Renee likes to say. Now with 2 children, a business and an active community and social life, the juggle is real. And through this conversation, we talk about fitting everything in, along with the fact that sometimes we just have to make decisions that may appear to fly in the face of logic to those looking in. But when we know, we know. We also talk about the power of belief and how we can make or break our business success purely by what we choose to believe. So we join this conversation with me inviting Renee to fill us in a little bit about what prompted such a big move. So we heard in the introduction that you made a massive change. You left a successful PR career in Sydney for the bright lights of Gundagai. And for those who don't know, Gundagai is a small regional town on the banks of the Murrumbidgee River, sort of partway between Sydney and Melbourne, isn't it? So it was quite a significant change. What prompted you to leave the corporate life behind and head to the country?
Yes, well, my parents still ask me that question because they almost fell off their chair when I did say we were moving back to Gundagai, which is where I grew up. Look, Claire, it was a number of things. It was a time in my career, I think, where I just felt I didn't know where to next. We were also looking for a house at the time, and we just kept missing out. We'd be that last be down to the last 2 bidders, and we'd miss out. So to me, that was kind of a little bit of a sign of, are we doing the right thing? And then in the middle of all that, my beautiful grandfather passed away suddenly and left his property to my mum and her sister. And so my husband and I went out for dinner one night, and we just said, right, we're just going to buy this house that we saw 3 days ago. We're just going to do it because I'm sick of looking at houses. I'm sick of every weekend trawling through, what's for sale. And I said, we're just going to do it. So we're sitting there with the contract.
This was a house in Sydney you'd seen. You just thought, stuff it, we'll just go for that one. Yeah.
We just thought, and I hated it. I'm sorry, but I hated it. And I'm just thinking, we just got to buy it, Well, I'll do something with it.
Start somewhere. Yeah.
Start somewhere. And so we're both sitting there very unexcited about the whole thing. And then I just leant across the table and I said, what if we talked to Mum and my auntie and bought Pop's property? And he just went, what? And I said, well, what if we did that? And he shut the contract, like literally there, put down the pen and ordered a bottle of wine. And the rest is kind of history. The next minute I was resigning from my job. He was going, okay, I've got to transition my landscaping business to Gundagai. And we rang my mum and said, what do you think of this idea? And she was like, are you on something?
Are you serious?
You told me you were never moving back here. And I said, yeah, I know that. But yeah, so it was kind of a bit of, I don't know, almost like a sliding doors moment, because I think if it had have been even the month before, we would have bought a house, and I don't know where we would be now, whether we'd still be there.
It's amazing, isn't it? And I know, like, you and I have spoken about this lots of times before, the fact that, you know, a decision in the moment can drastically sort of change the direction of our life. You know, I've made some big decisions too, like moving countries and staying in the country when I could have gone back to the UK, and you know, moving in with a partner that I'd only just met a few weeks ago, you know. So there's big decisions that really, but I don't know about you, but when something feels right, it like it, you know, don't you? And it's just, and as crazy as it might sound, to sort of go, oh well, we've got a successful business and you know, I've got a successful career, but hey, let's just leave all that behind and move to a small regional town that I grew up in and vowed I'd never go back to. But,
I know.
But somewhere inside we know, don't we? Like when a decision's right.
And it just felt right. I think this whole weight just got lifted off both of our shoulders, and it was like, well, we are in charge of our own lives and we can make this happen. We had no commitments at the time. We had no children. You know, we were only partway through our marriage, you know, early years, and we were like, well, we can do this.
What's the worst that can happen?
If it all turns to crap, we can move back to our little apartment in Sydney and off we go again.
But it didn't all turn to crap, did it? Because here we are years later and you're still there.
And I'm still here. Yes, still here. Two children later, a renovated house. Jeremy's established his landscaping business here in the area. I've had this shop for 6 years, and life's pretty good. And surprised, like I still have to go, you know, it still surprises me because I'm a very cautious person. I've always been very planned and measured, and you know, must get a good education, must go to uni, must get a good job, you know, all those
very linear,
things.
all the sort of
absolutely. So this completely threw out that whole thing.
That whole life plan.
I think Jeremy actually thought, that's my husband, I think he actually thought I was having some sort of breakdown. And
he just thought, I'm just going to go along with this to try and like keep her together.
I'm sure he was going, this is exactly what I want to do, you know. And he was. And I think deep down he was, because he didn't love Sydney. He loved what he did, but the traffic and the chaos of his job, trying to get in and out of job sites and council approvals and all that sort of thing, as you can imagine, working in Sydney suburbs, trying to do landscaping, it was all getting big and messy, you know, from that perspective. So
it was as if someone from up there, your pop or whoever it was like, hey, hello, there's an alternative here you're not thinking about.
And I actually have a photo of him on my piano, and it was a photo of him at my wedding. And I just, you know, I look at that photo every day as I'm leaving the house, and I just say, oh look, you know, I hope he'd be proud of what we've done. Because and I think, as sad as it was to lose him, we all sort of say, you know, there was something there. He wanted to be with his wife, and she'd passed away the year before, and I think, you know, he'd gone to the place he wanted to be, and then that opened up something for us. And I don't know, I'm not really a spiritual person, but I do feel like the universe was at play at that stage,
giving everybody what they wanted, what they needed.
Exactly.
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But so explain to me then how you go from PR, high-flying PR exec in Sydney to owning a fashion style business, a retail business and a styling business. How does that happen?
I don't know. still don't know that answer. Yeah, look, Claire, to be honest, it was something I almost fell into. I've always loved clothes. I've loved fashion. My family, so my mum's side of the family, they're originally from Lebanon, and they came out to Australia in the early 1900s and bought retail stores. They established retail stores. So retail's kind of been in my blood. Not that I ever really knew that in terms of that was something I was going to pursue. My mum owned a clothing store as well years ago. So I think it was always there, but it wasn't ever in my
forefront of your
life plan. In my future. Yeah, and being in that sort of public relations world where you're dealing with these multinational companies and, I did a lot of travel. I was representing really big companies, and it was exciting. It was challenging. It was hard work. But I also felt like I was just one cog in a wheel going round and round and round. That's the point I got to, I think. So moving back here, I had a complete just refresh. I think I did a reset on everything.
Yeah.
I worked for a general practice accreditation company for a couple of years, which was great, doing marketing and communication. Then I discovered I was pregnant, and so had a couple of years of just doing a bit of consulting here and there. Then I decided it'd be a great idea to work for my husband. It wasn't a great idea. No.
I can't imagine it. I have a tradie husband too. My hubby's an electrician, and even those days where we're in the office together doing paperwork together, it's like and we're not even doing the same thing. He's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, but I'm like, I don't know that I could do it.
No, it was horrible. So so I had two children, a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I'm just going, is this it? I loved being a mum, and I still do love it, but I needed something else for me. So, a couple of years here and there, dabbled in some consulting and stuff, and then a lady had opened this lovely clothing store in town, and I often popped in. And she one day just said to me, look, would you like a couple of days work? And I said, I'd love that. Yeah. And little did I know she was actually thinking at the time that she wanted to retire. And so I was only like a couple of months in, and she said, look, I just want to make you first offer. Would you like to buy the business? And then me being the procrastinator that I am, I think that was like in January, and I bought the business in December. So that's
wow
for me to think about it. So yeah, it was a long time getting there, but I think it's just because I never really contemplated owning a business and owning a clothing store. But I talked to a few really close people. I don't like to talk to a lot of people when I make a decision, because I feel like I get too many opinions. So I lent on a very good friend of mine who had owned a business, and she was amazing. And she said, look, if it's something you love doing, and you feel like you could grow the business and you feel like you're going to make some money, then go for it. Yeah.
That's great advice, isn't it? I mean, there is so much to think about. Obviously, it's in terms of buying an already established business. That's a lot of money up front that you're putting into it. So you've got to have some kind of reassurance, I guess, or some kind of plan that it's going to work out, and you're at least not going to go backwards. But ultimately, it sort of comes down to, well, again, does it feel right? Is it something you think you could make a go of? Is it something you've got the energy for? And if so,
and I think also the fact that I had two small children. My daughter was about to start school, but at this point she was 4. And she climbed into bed with me one morning, and because she only just turned 5 in the April that she went to school. And I said, oh, sweetheart, you don't have to go to school next year. Like, you can wait one more year and spend another year with mummy. And she turned over to me and she goes, Mum, you'll be fine. I'm going to school.
Out of the mouths of babes.
Out of the mouths of babes. And that was another moment where I went, okay, well, she's going to school, so maybe I should consider this. Maybe I should do this.
It's time for me now. Yeah. Yeah.
And they were, yeah. So again, I don't know what happened there, but
there was just this like universal energy nudge.
So maybe I should believe in signs now, Claire, maybe.
Oh, I think that's a whole other conversation in its own right, isn't it? But I think I'm a believer that things happen for a reason, and we hear things, and we hear things when we're ready to hear them, and so maybe there's been this unconscious build-up of okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this in your mind, and then it was just that last little thing that your daughter said, and it was like, all right, that's it.
Yeah. And I think also having a partner, a husband who really believed in what I was doing, and he just said, and I said, oh, we don't have the money, and we're trying to pay off a house, and your business, you've got all this stuff. And he's like, we'll make it work. We will make it work. We've done the figures, we've done the figures in terms of what you need to make and how we need to pay off the business. He said, so don't let that be your deciding factor.
Yeah.
Do you actually want to do this? And my answer was pretty much, yes, I do. So here I am 6 years later, still here, and still love coming to work every day. I really do. Well, most days. But I really value what I have, and I value what I do. Yeah.
It's so awesome, isn't it? When you find something that you really love doing. I've spoken about it in another episode with someone. That whole, you find your passion, you never work another day in your life. Well, actually you do. You probably work your butt off even harder than you would have in a job for someone else. But the fact is, it doesn't feel so much like work because you're actually enjoying what you're doing. Yeah. And even
that's it.
I even had that conversation with my husband just this morning, because he was saying, oh, what are you doing today? And I was like, oh, I've got like 7 podcast episodes to edit. And he's like, oh God, like what are you doing? Why are you putting all this pressure on yourself to get it all done? I'm like, well, I'm actually really enjoying it. Like, it doesn't feel like work, like I like learning new things, and it's challenging making music line up with talking and fading in and fading out and all that jazz, but I'm learning new stuff, and I love that. So there's an element there, isn't there? There's definitely, when you find something you love.
And I think if you do love something, you are more willing to either learn more about it or teach yourself more things or get further training. Certainly when I took over the store, I sort of thought, well, it's established, it's a great store, but what it needs I need to.
Could it be?
What else could it be? And that's when I decided, I love giving people advice on, when people ask me, advice on their style or clothing or whatever, because it's just, I don't know, it's just probably just a bit of a natural thing for me to do that. And I will always offer that advice if asked for it. But I thought I could actually make this a part of my business. And that's when I decided to do my certificate in personal styling. And that was, again, a big financial commitment and a time commitment. But it's something that has really helped not only me personally to really cement that kind of, I guess, natural side of what I do. It gives it sort of a bit more, I don't know what the word is.
Credibility,
maybe probably.
You know, it's sort of, I'm not just a shop owner telling you that looks nice on you to kind of force the sale. It's like, no, I am actually like qualified in this. I do have experience, like real experience in this. I'm telling you, you know, that's perfect for your body shape, or that's the perfect color for you, or and
I think that's it. It just gives them a little bit more reassurance that I'm just not a sales lady trying to push a sale on you. Totally. And that I will genuinely tell you what I think of a garment on you, and I will genuinely help you find what you're looking for. And if it's not here, then I'm not going to
make you
push you onto something else or make you buy it.
I think that's I mean, that's such a false positive doing that, isn't it? Because you might make one sale of one forced item and then that person will regret it and never come back ever again. Or, you know, you give someone like exceptional service and you know, you say, well, look, you know, I probably don't have exactly what you're looking for right now. But, you know, look out for this in this shape and this color, and then they find that somewhere else, but then when they want something else, they're going to come straight back to you because of that integrity and that honesty and authenticity. That's and the service. So
the service, and that's why the shop front to me is so important, is because that's how we've built this business. And the lady who owned it previously, that's how she built this business. She's all about service, and she was all about making you feel completely comfortable when you were here. And you can't get that online. I mean, there are a lot of stylists doing those sorts of things online, and it's fantastic, and especially during COVID. But I think to be able to walk into a store, touch and feel and try on, and have someone there to direct you or guide you is a really fortunate position to be in, I think.
So how have you found running a business like this, like in a regional town? You know, like people think maybe listening that, you know, in a small rural town, you don't get a lot of foot traffic. So how have you found your journey over the last 6 years of developing a business such as this in a small town?
So it hasn't been smooth sailing. Like literally when I took over the business, the main street of Gundagai was being completely upgraded. So, you know, there were 3 or 4 weeks where I was actually having to walk across a plank of wood to get into my store. So, you know, there was...
Did you think then, what the hell have I done?
Going, what? You know, there were just
weeks
weeks of people drilling out the front and pulling up the pavers, and you know, there was cement everywhere. There was, you know, it was chaos. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what have I done? You know, but I thought, you know, if I can get through this, well, I'm going to be okay. And we did, because the end result was amazing. Our main street looks amazing. And I think we're very fortunate to be on the highway. We're still one of the only towns that is still on the highway. So you can just literally drive quick, zip off the highway and you're here. Between Sydney and Melbourne. So I think that makes a huge difference. So I already had a really good local clientele, and, you know, that's built and grown over the years. But then the highway traffic is very important to us, and the travelling population. And I've noticed, like in the last 12 months, people are just getting out into the country. They're going to regional communities. They're looking at what is out there, and they're going, oh, hey, you know, some really cool places in the country.
Yeah, I certainly feel it. I don't know about you, whether it's just a feeling that I get, but just generally I feel there's this energy more of, let's just move away from the big corporations, the big banks, the high street chains, the big franchises, and let's really get back to basics and let's focus on the simple stuff. So it's buying meat from local butchers or from markets, and buying veggies from markets and local producers, and buying clothes, buying gifts, buying all the things that we need from small, like I don't know, I can't get the words out, like that, just whole back to basics, like
Back to
feel like I'm
basics. I
actually
think it
talking
is.
to the person who this is really going to impact when I buy this thing from them, as opposed to just some random on the till of a big high street store. There's real value in that, isn't there? And I know I was feeling it anyway, but I think 2020 and COVID, and for our region as well, bushfires and drought, it's all building that, isn't it? It's building that, let's stay local, let's shop local, let's support local.
And that sense of community, I think. It was amazing the amount of people over Christmas who locally said, I'm just shopping local for Christmas. My number one objective is to get all of my Christmas presents done here in Gundagai. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because people were still quite fearful then of what was happening, and but then those same people then discovered, hang on, we've got a lot on offer here. But I'm also even finding accommodation is similar. People are really going towards those, the farm stays and the bed and breakfasts and the those Airbnbs and things like that. And it's amazing. And the number of Airbnbs just here locally that have opened up. And I think, all of that, everything you just said about that whole back to basics thing is really coming through. Yeah. And I also think I've been back here now for 14 years. I have just found the change in younger families moving, like similar to what we did, I guess, moving back to Gundagai, moving back to their family home and establishing businesses. There's a lot more entrepreneurship and people just recognizing opportunities more. I believe that there are more opportunities, and I am going to start this business and I am going to make it work. And I think that's been a really good thing as well.
I absolutely agree. It's all part of that energy, that back to basics, isn't it? It's like, I'm going to be in control of my own destiny. So I'm gonna, this is something I want to do. So this is something I'm going to do. And I think, we sort of talked a lot about the decisions that you've made and the choices you've made and the success that's come of that. But I don't want to sort of throw a dampener on the conversation, but I'm just, let's be real, it kind of all been plain sailing, straight happy days sailing. Like what are some of the challenges you've had to overcome in your years in business?
Yeah. Well, besides the physical challenges of having no street for a while,
do that.
I think there's the perception versus reality thing. I think, and I was probably guilty of this when I worked in Sydney, that feeling of, what's in Gundagai? You can't have a nice, you can't have a successful shop in Gundagai or a nice shop in Gundagai. So it was about me changing my thought process as well, and going, hang on a second, I can give any city store a run for its money, and and overcoming that. And I think that's been a really big thing for me. Also, when I went and did my personal styling course, that was in Melbourne, and I was surrounded by people from Melbourne and Sydney, and there were probably two of us from regional areas, and I sort of migrated towards those couple of people. And I remember saying to one of our mentors, like, you operate a personal styling business. She didn't have a shop front. I said, you operate a personal styling business out of Hillston, which is a tiny town out of Griffith. I said, how do you do that? I said, what are the, and she goes, Renee, like, I'm run off my feet. I can't keep up with the amount of business that I have. And she said, but I just had to be confident that there were people like me who want to be well dressed, who want to be, go out into the world feeling great and projecting a certain persona, I guess. And she said, I had to have that belief in my head to then be able to get my business going and make it happen. And that's what she did. And I thought, okay, I've got to rethink how I do business. And I've got to rethink how people spend their money and how they buy their clothes or their goods or their services, and make that work here. And so that was a bit of a turning point in the business. And for me to say, I am providing a service. I'm providing a really worthwhile service. I'm inspiring others to look and feel their best. And in this crazy time that we've had in the last 12 months, particularly, I feel people want that. They still need to feel good. They still need to look good. They still want to be looking like they're in control. At the same time as going, what the heck is going on? And totally. I really feel that. And there's so many people that think that way, that, and we all love to feel good. We all love to look good. We all love that. And, I just had to change my mindset a little bit. Yeah.
It's I love that story because it just highlights, the split in the pathway, that fork where you were. It's like I keep the belief of, well, I'm in a small town, there's only so much my business is going to grow. Like, who's going to come into a shop and buy something like this like every week or every month? Like, I've got to get used to just this limited level of success. Or you choose to say, well, you know what, there are thousands of people in this town. We are on the main highway between Sydney and Melbourne. It's a beautiful tourist area. I'm providing a service. This business is going to be awesome. And that belief can either make or break us, can't it?
Absolutely. And I think it's that feeling of, and we've all got to work together. My business doesn't survive without all the other businesses around me. And we support each other, and that's a really big shift that a lot of businesses have had to make. It's not about me just opening my door every morning and standing in my little bubble in here. I've got to be recommending places to go and eat. I've got to be recommending, the shops next door to me and saying, go there for beautiful decor or your candles or flowers or whatever. Go and get your hair done up the road here, and make those real connections with people to say that we've got really great stuff here.
That's a mindset thing as well, I think, isn't it? Because
absolutely,
we could sit there thinking, okay, well, I am here on a main street of 10 other small retailers, all vying for that tourist dollar or that, the local dollar, or, wanting to be the shop where that person buys that birthday present this year, sort of thing. And we could choose to see each other as competitors. In which case that doesn't really benefit anybody, does it?
No one.
So
no one. And I find, you really need to, and you really need yourself as a business owner to go out and see what's on offer in your local community. You've got to actually go to these places, and you've got to actually see what's there so that you can recommend it. And to be operating very singularly and individually, which is quite easy because most of our businesses are run by one person, one or two people. You can really get into that whole way of working and not see outside and not see what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's not a healthy way to work.
No.
To think that the person next door is my competitor, that's not healthy. She's, you know, they're my business partner in a way, because if their business is doing well, I'm going to get the overflow of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important, especially altogether anyway, but especially in a small town. Because like you say, you know, your business only survives if the ones around you do. And, you know, if on a busy public holiday weekend, you're the only business open, you know, someone's going to drive down the street and just be like, oh, well, that's shut. Let's just keep driving. And, you know, you can be waving there going, hello, no, I'm open. But, you know, if all the cafes are open and, you know, pubs are open and there's people about, and that's when people are going to stop, isn't it? And so that's right. This sense of community and helping each other out. I think that's an awesome mindset to have.
Yeah.
Let's just backtrack a few years, because, you know, you sort of said one of the final kind of kicks up the butt to kind of go for this was your daughter saying, no, mummy, I'll be okay, I'm going to school. How did you find, or how do you find, because you're still a mum, how do you find juggling running a business with your husband having his own business and having kids? You know, where do you find the balance?
Oh, I don't know if I have found the balance.
Does balance exist?
It's school holidays, Claire. There's no balance. Look, I'm quite fortunate. My kids are a little bit older now, so they're quite, you know, they can look after themselves pretty much. However, especially those earlier years, like, oh, man, it was a juggle, you know. But I think also it was about changing my mindset and saying what's really, really important to me. And, you know, I hate to miss a school event, and I hate to miss going to a sports carnival, you know, in Borowa with my kids. So I made it a priority of mine to make that commitment. And I either get someone to work in the store that day, or I just simply have to say, I'm really sorry, but for that 1 or 2 hours, I'm not going to be here.
Yeah.
And people are generally pretty understanding of that. I don't do it often. You know, it's once in a blue moon, but I just feel like I have my own business. And that is one of the reasons why I have it. I've got to have that little bit of flexibility to say that I might be a little bit late this morning because there's assembly at school and I know my daughter's getting an award. I don't want to miss those moments. And a lot of people don't have that luxury, and I take that very much as a luxury. I take that very much as I'm very fortunate to have that ability. I don't abuse that ability, though. I recognize I have a business to run and I have to be here. But at the same time,
it's a non-negotiable for you.
Non-negotiable.
Your kids are concerned, and important things that they've got going on. You know, you're a mum first.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And you know, and they're growing so quickly, and soon they won't need me really at all. And you know,
you'll be rocking up at the high school things, and they're like, "Oh, mum!
Oh, mum, you're so embarrassing. Why are you wearing that?"
Imagine.
Do you really have to wear those snakeskin boots to my sports carnival?
Oh, that's hilarious. So what are some of the things, like, you know, we've talked about all the ups and downs, we've talked about big life-changing decisions, we've talked about juggling kids and stuff. What is it inside of you? What keeps you going? Like what keeps you going up and going into work every day, you know, unlocking that door? What keeps you managing that juggle? What's that drive?
Oh gosh. I think it's similar to what I was saying before. I think I've really found my worth, and I recognize what that is. I know what I'm doing is worthwhile. I have a husband who is very motivating from that perspective. I can get very caught up in my own head, and all the things are going on, and he'll be like, right, let's just unpack this and let's start from the start, and today's a new day and you're going to go in there and you're going to be great and blah blah blah. And there are some weeks where I don't even see him. It's like ships passing in the night.
Yeah.
Kids have got stuff on. It's like, are you going to get the kids? Am I going to get the kids? They've got piano lessons. Oh, they got soccer training. They've got this, that, and everything else. And so I think it's about just saying, okay, today's a new day, and today we're just going to get up. And I've used this motto a lot, and I've used it for years, even before I was in this business, was, get up, dress up, and show up. And particularly when you're running your own business, because it's very easy just to go, I'll just shut the door today and I'm not going in. Because there's no one there to tell you to open it. So that to me is very important. I've always been very driven with whatever I've done. And I say this to my kids often, you're always going to have jobs, or you're always going to have things that, you may not love, but just get up and do your best and know that it's a phase of your life until you do find that thing that really pushes you and does make you want to get up.
You up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I say the exact same thing to my boys as well, to our boys. And, there's always going to be people that press your buttons. There's always going to be things that you need to do that you don't want to do. There are always going to be situations that you need to address, but you don't want to. You can't stay wrapped in bubble wrap. You can't have someone walking in front of you with a mower and making a nice clear path for you. We have to learn the resilience to get through those times, don't we? And I think that's where it's really important to know the purpose of what we're doing, and know why we're doing it, because that then becomes the drive, doesn't it? It's like, okay, well, what I've got to do right now is shit, but I'm doing it because it's going to lead to this or
that's
this
right.
or this, and that's what I want. So to get there, I've got to do this. And
in every job, no matter if it is your dream job, there are going to be the shitty bits. Like, Claire, to be honest, I'm sitting here, I've got 2 boxes of ironing to do before 5:30 this afternoon, and I'm just like, can I leave that for someone else? No, I've got to do it.
Do you know what? That is probably the most, I had not even considered the fact that you probably have deliveries turn up all crumpled up in boxes, and you've then got to iron them before they go out on the racks.
Yeah,
I hadn't even considered that. There you go.
Ironing, the price thing, then where are they all going to go, and I've got to then re-coordinate all the racks, and there's all these bits where honestly you don't think about this in other people's worlds, the bits and pieces and the minutiae of it all. And it's like, and someone will see my light on at 7:30 at night. I said, what were you doing in the shop at 7:30? I said, I was ironing. I was actually ironing because I need to get these clothes out so I can sell them to you tomorrow. It's it's all those bits. But as I say, particularly to my son, he's nearly 14 and just got his first part-time job. And, I say to him, in any job, anything you do, there's going to be the bits that you absolutely hate and that you just go, ugh, I don't want to be there today. But then you've got to look, as you said before, you've got to look at what is ahead.
What that's facilitating, what that's doing that is going to lead to. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, such great advice. And I think there's just so much to this conversation that we could just keep going with. And I know you and I can talk
yeah,
we can talk quite freely. But if someone wants to find out more about your store, your styling services, you in general, how can they find you?
Well, I am on Instagram and Facebook. So it's Wren Store and Styling, as in the bird, the Wren, WREN. I have just launched my website as well.
Yay.
Yay! So, and that is where you'll find a lot about my styling services that I offer,
Awesome.
and all the things that go on in
Yeah,
our little shop here.
And all those links will post in the show notes for this episode as well. So anyone curious can jump on those notes and click through and find you quite easily.
Beautiful.
Excellent. Thank you so much. It has been
Thank you, Claire.
so much fun. I really appreciate sharing all your candid moments of some of those big life-changing things, and then some of those everyday things that we just don't even think about. So at the end of each episode, I have 5 little questions that I ask all my guests. Are you ready for some quick fire questions?
Ooh, sure. Okay, let's go.
Let's go. All right. What are you reading right now?
Well, I've just started my latest book club book. I'm part of a book club that's called Reading Between the Wines.
Oh, I love it.
So take that as you see it.
Yeah.
The book we are currently reading is Camilla Shampsey's Home Fire. Now, to be honest, I'm not that far enough into it to give it a yay or nay. So maybe next time, if we ever speak again online, well, I'll let you know all about it. Yeah.
Fabulous. What about a song? What's your favorite song of all time and why?
I love all genres of music. I love music, but I'd have to say anything with a great beat. I'm usually the first onto a dance floor and the last to leave it. So, and my dance floor request is Boys of Summer. That's my dance floor request. So I'd have to say that. Yeah.
Love it. Now you mentioned a couple through the conversation, but so it could be one of those, but it could be another one. What's a quote that's changed your life?
Well, yes, there is the get up, dress up and show up.
Yeah.
But I think the one that really has sat with me in the last couple of years, it was when I was doing my personal styling certificate, and it kept coming up during the course of, and it's an anonymous quote, but it's attract what you expect, reflect what you desire, become what you respect, and mirror what you admire. And as I said, I came across this quote when I was doing my personal styling, but I find the message in this really powerful, not only in a business sense, but in life in general, because I think it really makes you go, okay, what do I want? What do I want to project? How do I want to feel? Yes, how do I want to look? But more, who am I? What is driving me every day to be who I am and what I do? Yeah. So I really love that one.
That's very cool.
I love that.
I like that. What about, here's a random one. What about an app or a piece of software or a piece of tech that's changed how you do business?
Okay. Well, just for a start, I'm not an early adopter of anything. Nothing. Technology and I are not great friends. However, during lockdown back in March last year, when I realized I'd have to close the store for a little while, I discovered Instagram videos, and I've since kept using them because what I found was I could still showcase the stock that I had as well as the service that I offered in terms of styling and how to put things together and all that sort of thing.
Yes.
So I'd say the Instagram videos has been a really big thing for me to discover and to hone and to, I pretty much taught myself how to do it all. And now it's become just a part of what I do.
I personally love it. I personally am a big fan. Anyone listening who wants some tips on, you do things like how to wear one item multiple ways, don't you? And how to dress things up and dress things down, how to accessorize. It's awesome. And now your ever increasingly popular Mum and Me series as well, where you do the videos with your mum. Everyone needs to jump on. So Instagram link will be in the show notes.
Oh, thanks. My poor mum.
She's becoming the celebrity she never knew she was.
and still doesn't realize because she's not on social media. So people say to her, oh, I loved your video. She'll say to me, how many people have seen this video?
Like the whole world, Mum. Leave us with a life hack, Renee, your best, whether it be mum juggle, business tip, household tip, life hack, practical tip that will make our lives easier.
Okay, random tip, and it's a styling one.
Mm-hmm.
Buy yourself a pair of hoop earrings. I'm not kidding you. Do you have yours on today, Claire?
I do have mine on today. Yes, I've got the gold ones on today.
I'm not kidding. They're the best way to instantly lift an outfit, especially when you're having a bad hair day. Pop your hair in a ponytail and put your hoops on and go. I'm telling you now. Oh, and a little bit of lipstick and mascara. That never goes astray either. But
hoops,
that's what I say. No one realizes the value of the hoop. And I'm just telling you now, get on it. During COVID, when we were all FaceTiming and Zooming and all that sort of stuff, you could tell, like the people who were going, right, I've just got to look, but the top half of me just has to look okay. I sold a lot of hoop earrings during that time, let me tell you.
I bet you did. Thank you so much, Renee. It's been such a fun conversation. I trust everyone's got some huge value out of it. And you're going to get a heck of a lot more subscribers to your Mum and Me videos now, I think.
Oh, thank you, Claire.
Oh, conversations with Renee are always so much fun. She has been a business coaching client of mine for probably almost a year now, and we always have such a good laugh. What were your key takeaways from that episode? I'm a believer that life is the result of a few courageous decisions, and this was 100% backed up by Renee's story. Imagine how different her life could have been had they have bought that house in Sydney and not moved back to Gundagai. I know when I look back at my life, I can see examples that probably looked absolutely crazy, decisions that I'd made that anyone looking in would have thought that I was going a bit loopy. But as we talked about in previous episodes, when you know, you know. And as long as we're always moving in the direction of where we want to go, then we really can't go far wrong. My other key takeaway is that the only limitation to what we can achieve is what we choose to believe. So the only limitation of what we can achieve is what we choose to believe. If we believe that things are going to be hard and challenging and exhausting, then guess what? They will be. Our minds are really very, very good at finding evidence to support our beliefs, whether we've got conscious awareness of it or not. So if you're seeing roadblocks ahead of you and you're deciding that that's a sign that you should slow down or stop, then I challenge you to reflect on what you actually believe you're capable of, because it wasn't until Renee actually chose to believe that she was offering a service that people would value and people would love that she began to see the results in that space. And how about that quote? Attract what you expect, reflect what you desire, become what you respect, and mirror what you admire. Know your worth, believe in your value, and rock forth at making your life everything you want it to be, even if, like in Renee's case, you've got a mountain of ironing at your side. As usual, you can continue the conversation on Facebook or Instagram and share what you have loved about this episode, and the links to those communities will be in the show notes to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a new episode as it drops, and if you listen on Apple Podcasts, be sure to leave a 5-star review to show your support of the show and really help us gain momentum. Thanks again for listening. I will be back in your ears really soon, and until then, bye-bye.